Did my man Jesus of Nazareth really walk on water? Did he really just do that? Did he really just walk on water? Did he really do that? And first of all, did he even exist? Is he even a real character? Is he fictional or is he non-fictional? Well, I don't know. I wasn't there to verify. Scriptures could easily have been corrupted or altered. I'd like to believe that he existed just because his life story is beautiful and his teachings are beautiful. And even if he didn't, I might as well just make believe that he did, because he's a great example. Like, you know, there's all kinds of fictional movies, like Lord of the Rings, for example. It's fictional, but man, you can learn everything you need about life just by watching Lord of the Rings or reading the books, okay? So I'm gonna make believe that he existed regardless. I think he did. Okay, I think he did. Now, let's talk about the walking on water. Did he really walk on water? Okay, he definitely did. Alright, if he existed, he definitely did. And if he didn't, many other beings certainly have done that. And I'm going to attempt to explain to you why. How. Alright, so, first of all, very important to understand, reality is not concrete. It's not physical. It appears to be that way. In the same way that if you're in the desert and you see what seems to be an oasis, what seems to be a well of water, what we call a mirage. It's not water. It appears to be water, and in that moment, it feels so real, doesn't it? I grew up in a desert, and we'd be driving around, and it's like, oh, here's water, and there is water, and there is water. It appears to be real, man. Like, it feels so real, but yet it isn't. It's a mirage, and this reality, this is a mirage. It's mental. It's all is mental. It's not concrete. It's not physical. It's just matter is energy condensed to a slow vibration. It's just, it vibrates at such a slow rate that it appears to be physical. It appears to be physical. All right. So, and we're certainly inside someone's simulation, someone's game, right? Someone's code. And that someone is, you know, there's all kinds of theory about him. We call him God. Some people will say, oh, we're inside the simulation of an evil, we're inside Satan's simulation, right? I think it was, what's their names? The Gnostics that say that, if I'm not mistaken, right? They say we're inside this evil, the Archon's simulation. So we're inside a malevolent universe. I don't know if I said that correctly, but it's the opposite of benevolent, meaning with bad intentions. I personally think we're inside the simulation of a benevolent being. For the sake of discussion, I'm just gonna call that being God, the creator, the simulator, the coder of the game. Okay, and so we're inside this in characters, just like you pick up a game and you play. You pick a character, right? You pick up Tekken, you pick Jim, or you pick Lee, or you pick any of the characters. So you can play the game from two levels. You can play the game from the created level, or you can play the game from the creator's level. It's possible, and it's up to you. It's up to your spiritual development. It's up to what kind of skills you obtained in past lives, in past spawns, in past characters, or skills you obtain in this character. So for instance, certain yogis, which Jesus happens to be one of them, Jesus is a yogi, certain yogis, they begin to be to suspect, hey, I think this is a maya. They call it maya in Hinduism, illusion. I think this is an illusion. I'm gonna go retreat into the mountain or retreat into a cave, and I'm going to develop my spiritual skills enough to the point where I can play the game from the creator's perspective, the coder, the one who coded the game, rather than from the perspective of the created, the character that's bound to the codes. Okay, so here is the character. The character is bound by certain laws. We call them laws of nature, laws of the universe. Meaning, if I try to walk on water right now, I'm going to just either, you know, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to collapse into the water, and if I don't know how to swim, I'm going to drown. Because I'm playing the game from the perspective, from the level of the created. I'm simply hopeless. What's the word? Helpless. I'm helpless. I am helpless and bound by the code of the game. So the code of the game says, well, that, you know, a physical being, a human being, can't walk on water. But as you begin to unlock the inner innate spiritual skills, the created, see, we all have the seed. In fact, we are all at the highest level the creator of the game. All right, so Jesus was a yogi, and Jesus was, you know, he went to the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. He fasted, he meditated, he prayed, he faced all the temptations from the demon, etc., etc. And as he went through this process, and some say he even went to India and trained with the yogis of India, you know, there's probably something to that. He began to what? He began to open this center here, began to really open this third eye, right? His psychic abilities started coming back online. And as they came back online, he realized that this game can be played at a whole different level, that he can play the game from the creator's point of view, rather from the created point of view, which is an empowered position. You see, you're in an empowered position once you're able to play the game from the creator's position. And he aligned himself with the creator, which he referred to as the Father. See, I'm in the camp that says this, we're inside the simulation, the code of a benevolent being. And he realized it is a benevolent being, which is why he preached love. And then he came back and he started healing giving the blind their sight back, even though, because now he's playing the game from the creator's perspective. Even though that blind person, that's the code. There is some code in the genetics, perhaps, right? That character was born to a particular genetic line. The code says you're gonna be blind. He can't do anything about it because he's playing the game from the created perspective, from the character's perspective. First person versus third person. Jesus is like, nah, I'm playing the game from third perspective, from third person, from the creator's perspective. I created this. I can manipulate the code. He goes to the blind man, puts his hand on him, manipulate the codes, just uses his psychic powers, his psychic abilities. And I'll tell you something very important about the skill needed to do the kind of things Jesus did. Basically, you have to develop laser to start to play the game from the creator's perspective, from the creator's level. You have to develop laser focused mind. So what the Hindus do, what the yogis do, they do something called Tritaka meditation, where they take a candle and they look at a candle for hours and hours and hours and hours. Guys, like 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours. They're just looking at a candle. Nothing but except for that. And everything starts to calm down, and their level of focus. I used to do this meditation, but not for that long. Man, you're like, truly, I started doing it every day for an hour, and then I really just started to feel like my psychic abilities, you know, some of my psychic abilities are beginning to wake up. And I started to, whenever I would see a dog, this was back in Thailand, I would just put my hand on the dog, and because my ability to focus at the time was much better than now, because I don't do that meditation anymore, I would put my hand on a dog, and I would just truly be able to focus on the thought of healing. Because if your ability to think about one particular thing is so strong, you can just focus on that one particular thing, and that's how you manipulate the codes in the game. That's how you play the game from the creator's perspective. That's how you go from helpless, I'm bound by the laws, to empowered. I'm going to play around, and I'm going to manipulate the code according to my intent, according to my thought. So I would put my hand on a dog, and I would just send him like healing. I just think, send this dog healing, send this dog healing. And I feel like it was doing something. I don't know if it was, but I feel like it, right? Because I do that because the dogs in Thailand, they're in such poor condition. They're all like, you know, like stray dogs and stuff. But that's Jesus had this incredible yogic power, psychic power that we all have if we train. You have to train just like a sport, just like a muscle. You have to train. You focus on one thing. So In the particular case of walking on water, Jesus, because of his developed psychic abilities, his developed ability to focus on one thing, goes into the water, and then he can do a variety of different practices and different visualizations. He can simply, very easily, simply put, he can just focus and visualize himself walking on water. Yeah? The yogis of Tibet, they sit down. They're up in the mountains where it's really cold. Sit down. I mean, I think Wim Hof visited them and he verified that to be the case. They sit down and then they have sheets around them. Yes, they have the snow around them. They just sit down in meditation and use visualization techniques, and the snow around them starts to melt. Yeah, because they're playing the game at the creator's level, because they're able to focus. So all they have to do is visualize the snow basically melting, or they can visualize a fire around them just burning the snow. It's you could do many different things, right? And in fact, Wim Hof uses those types of visualization methods while he's doing the crazy things he does up in the mountains to keep himself warm. So yeah, that's the power of meditation. That's the power of focus, laser focus. And so when you unlock these psychic abilities, it's just like any other game. Like if you go to an elite athlete and say, well, how did you do that? He's like, I've just been practicing for 10 years. It's easy to me now. It's second nature. It's the same thing for Jesus and Jesus-like characters that have walked the earth performing all kinds of miracles. Is they're able to focus. They're able to focus. They're able to really just focus on one thought. So Jesus can focus on, he can literally close his eyes, visualize himself walking on water. And with that strong intent and that strong level of focus, he can actually walk on water. You see? So yeah, he's playing the game at the creator's level, and we're all capable of doing that. We just have to do our due diligence. We have to raise our vibration through different means. Meditation, fasting, so many different things. Visualization is very, very powerful. Yeah? Okay, so that's about it. If you like this content, subscribe, like the video, please, and I'll see you in the next video.